One-day shipping is the new craze in e-commerce.
And now everyone not named Amazon has to figure out a way to catch up. Stay tuned for your daily charge.
Welcome to the Daily Charge. It's Thursday, November 21st. I'm Ben Fox-Rubin.
I'm Ayaz Akhtar.
And let's get today's headlines. Amazon made big waves in online retail earlier this year by announcing plans to move its two-day Prime shipping in the U.S. to just one day. Walmart quickly followed suit. Now all the other retailers are trying all sorts of strategies to stand out this holiday season, even if they can't offer such fast shipping times. So Ayaz, how quickly are you to shop, or how likely are you to shop on these other sites, even if they don't offer one-day shipping?
I guess it depends on my planning, right? Like I try to make sure that my shopping is done early enough, because I know when I would wait to the last minute, one-day shipping, sometimes they say it might be one day. And then obviously when there's a giant rush, there's lots of packages downstairs, it could be a real mess. So how likely am I to use it? Only if I screw up.
That is an extremely good point, by the way. So people should remember during the holidays, the longer and longer you wait, the more likely those types of snafus are going to happen. So it'll be very interesting to see with one-day shipping if that ends up being a guarantee or if it just kind of spreads out into being two-day shipping, three-day shipping, what have you.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to one-day shipping, I will say I'm a little spoiled with Amazon. I do enjoy that when it's like, oh, this will show up on the same day. That's really kind of nice. It's like, oh, do I go outside or do I have somebody bring it over? When it's cold out, I'm like, this is a great idea. But then I have to break down the cardboard boxes. So there's a lot of things I got to think about. It's true.
Do you think, okay, so broadly speaking, with e-commerce, if you're on another website, like how badly do you think that this could harm other sites? And you know, Amazon and Walmart are already two of the biggest players, and people are going to be really interested in shopping on the holiday, and they want to do it quickly, seamlessly, as effortlessly as possible. So is your expectation that people are really going to move over even more so to Amazon and Walmart because of this?
I think they will go to these giant stores because they are reliable. You know about their history. You know that they are able to do this kind of shipping at the right time, especially when you need something right now. I think it's going to harm other companies because they might not have the same reputation. Like, just because I never heard of this company and they claim they'll have it in 1 or 2 days, you don't really know that. At least with Amazon, you do know that they've done this in the past. So I think it's very difficult. I know that people will shop at Amazon, even though maybe the price is higher, but they know they're going to get it as soon as possible, because Amazon does some crazy stuff, as you've reported on, when it comes to delivery, fulfillment centers. They have the ability to get stuff from A to B in such a quick way. It is daunting, I would imagine, for third parties.
Oh, absolutely. One of the aspects of this that I wrote about in my story today is that exclusives are the big play. So everybody that's not named Amazon or Walmart, we're going to have exclusives. So you have to come to us to get this kind of thing, whether it's sports gear or sand art or, I don't know, personalized monogrammed shirts.
I'm going to get monogrammed sand art. That's what
monogrammed
I'm going to do.
Sand art. But that kind of makes sense. Like, you would wait a couple more days for something if
no
other way to get it.
One day only for sand art.
That is fair enough. Anyway, next up, Google banned deepfakes and demonstrably false political ads. That follows Twitter's move to ban many political ads and Facebook's controversial move to not censor just about any of these ads. Ayaz, what's your take on this? We're getting into the 2020 election season. All of these tech players are really moving in all these different directions to say, hey, we really want to make sure that we don't screw up the same way 2016 was.
Yeah, these giant sites have a huge responsibility. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, should they have the responsibility? But they do. If you go to Google and you search for something, you don't want a result to be obviously fake or something that's targeted the wrong way. It's kind of weird to make these companies I don't know. They're going to be the honest people. Like,
right,
they have to
or
be,
like the gatekeepers. But
right,
they are the gatekeepers, so you kind of have to treat them that way. And it's interesting to see how they all play this in different ways. It is important to mention, by the way, that even though Facebook has been getting clobbered over this whole issue, they very expressly say that they prohibit already voter suppression. So if you tell somebody the election is the wrong day in a Facebook ad, that would be taken down, which, like, that just makes sense. I mean, like, they don't want to censor certain political stuff, but okay, we're going to draw the line on that one.
Right. But like you're saying, these companies are the gatekeepers. Like, when you go online and you go search through Google, or you go to Facebook, or you go to Twitter, these are the major sources of information to people, and if they don't explain, hey, by the way, that guy's full of junk, or this, we don't show you this. And then you also have the issue of, are they doing the right job? Are they doing this properly? And when things slip through, they get in more trouble. So kind of this, it's a very murky situation, but it is important that these companies are trying to make sure that they aren't responsible for just misinformation. That is a huge issue in general. It's so easy to spread information that's not true. And if Google can do anything about it, they should.
Okay, so this is the end of our week. And so let's try to end with something a little bit lighter, right?
You think so?
I guess so. So why don't you? What's the Baby Yoda thing? I haven't been watching The Mandalorian.
So that's a politician that's been banned from Google.
Oh, is that right?
No. So Baby Yoda. Okay, so technically it's not Yoda. It's a species of Yoda, or whatever Yoda is.
There's more than one Yoda.
Well, yes, that's very true, because he's not just a being that it came into existence.
He was like birthed from rocks or something.
We're not going to get into midichlorians and that kind of stuff. But
Fair.
so Baby Yoda is a character on The Mandalorian, which is a show on Disney Plus that is coming out weekly. Tomorrow, I believe, there's a new episode. It's chapter 3, because they call them chapters.
How exciting.
And and Disney Plus, or Disney's already said that the spoiler period's over, so we can talk about this character that shows up in the episode. It's a mini whatever Yoda is, but everyone's just calling it Baby Yoda. It's really cute. It's super cute. It's like Gizmo from the Gremlins, and it's got big eyes, and it's got force powers.
Cute little ears.
Big, not
he's
cute.
got force powers.
Force powers, big ears, and he's very, very cute. Or she.
I am a fan. Thank you very much for telling me about this thing, even though I have no context otherwise. Anyway, as adorable as Baby Yoda is, let's pause here and check in with the audience. I'm sure you all have lots and lots of theories yourselves about Baby Yoda, so feel free to sound off now. And while you're at it, hit us up with any questions about today's other stories. BVG, what's happening with everybody today?
So we probably should have laid this out in advance, but very, 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 very light spoiler warning. Honestly, if you've existed in this world and have been on the internet in the last 2 weeks at all, we are not the ones who have just spoiled the concept of Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian.
What? We know Baby Yoda exists.
And again,
exactly.
Disney,
I'm not watching the show.
Disney said that that period of not talking about it is over after 2 weeks, so we're
It's
good.
nice to see that they're the ones that are like
they're
telling you
You
that
need
it's okay.
gatekeepers, Ben.
That's right. You're absolutely right about that. So, but anyway, it would be nice if we tried to restrict some of the really big spoilers, if we can, for my sake.
We could just censor it. So baby blank. Just bleep that out.
Right, like Lady A with when we talk about voice computing.
But anyways, we'll have plenty to talk about there. The first comment we're going to take is coming from our old friend Matthew Datcher. He says, the thing I worry about with one-day shipping is how it affects workers, the actual factory workers. As we know, the conditions there are less than ideal. We've heard many, many different angles about how Amazon treats its employees, and we won't go down that path today, but that is one concern from the consumer level, is how the employees are being treated. That being said, Matthew also just did order something last night for one-day shipping to arrive today. I think we're all extremely guilty of that. How is that really going to tack up against things? I mean, does anyone feel guilt? Do we feel like there's something we could be doing as consumers to alleviate this?
Definitely a good point from the Datch about that. So immediately after one-day shipping was announced from Amazon, one of the major unions that complains a lot about Amazon, they're very well known for this, came out and they said exactly what Matthew mentioned, as far as that this is going to have a negative impact on workers. They are overworked and they work too fast already. They're going to have to work even faster, and it's going to be even harder for them because of one-day shipping. Amazon shot back against that, saying, you're just trying to get more people to join your union, which to a certain extent is true. But at the same time, there's still, those are the two arguments that are being, argued here. And I would kind of leave it to viewers and readers to make your own determinations as far as that's concerned. Similar to this, some of the folks that I talked to for my story talked about environmental impact. So there are arguments to be made that slower shipping is somehow better for the environment. Amazon, again, argues the opposite. They say because they have to put inventory closer to customers to be able to power one-day shipping, it's actually more environmental, as counterintuitive as that sounds. So again, some of these smaller players are saying, hey, if you shop with us, you might get it in 3 to 5 to 7 days, but it's going to be more environmental, which, by the way, we're kind of an environmental company anyway. And Amazon saying, no, actually, it's totally fine. You can shop one day, and it's totally good for the planet, just like anything else.
Yeah, trying to bring into the whole argument in the environment, and then there's union issues and larger issues. I think you could do that with almost anything you do. Like, has this apple I bought, has it been grown in
an
fair
ethical
way?
fashion?
Yeah. And so, like,
that's a good point.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about it, but it's definitely something to consider. Like, I know every day when I walk to work, there's this poor, overworked dude. He's got this giant cart of packages, and for whatever reason, it's every single day he's dropping at least one package off this thing because he just can't handle the amount of stuff he's got. So I do feel bad about that, because, like,
is that like a FedEx or UPS guy?
I believe he's one of those. I believe it's UPS, actually, but it's just kind of like, these are real people. These are people who are doing their jobs, and they're trying to make this happen, and making them, crazily overworked around the holidays. That's kind of every retailer, I would imagine. If you go to a store, like, they're hit too.
Oh, Black Friday, I'm sure, is
Right.
a miserable time to be working
So-
if you're a retail employee in the stores.
Yeah, I'd imagine you're not dealing with the best of the best on that point. So it's just ugly all around. So now this is very depressing. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, anytime. What other alternatives out there? We've name dropped Amazon and Walmart. We know there's Alibaba. Who else is trying to get on this train?
Well, Alibaba has very little exposure in the United States, so they're
They
not
killed
really
it on a Singles Day.
right. Yeah, in China. But as far as if you're trying to get stuff same day or next day, Target and Best Buy are obviously also in the mix as far as that's concerned. The folks that I talked to for my story included Fanatics, which they have a lot of exclusive deals with the NFL, NBA, a lot of the major leagues. So their big claim, as I mentioned with exclusives, is if you want to get this sports gear, really there's only one way to get it, and you would get it on Fanatics. So guess what? They are not under the same pressures in general about doing one day shipping, because if they say, look, we're the only ones with this product, you can't find it on Amazon, and we can only ship it to you in 3 days, well, you can either not buy the product and buy something else, or buy it through them and wait the 3 days. Another company I talked to is Uncommon Goods. They do a lot of gifting, handmade gifts, that kind of stuff, and they're also they're small enough that they only have, I think it's 1 to 3 warehouses, and the CEO of that company was just like, it would absolutely destroy our business if we did one day shipping. They would have to have 10 different warehouses, strategically placed all over the country.
These goods would be very common then. This would go
Exactly.
against their name.
And that's exactly what he said, was to be able to supply one day shipping and afford the warehousing fees, they would have to have paper towels and toilet paper and all sorts of other consumables that have nothing to do with Uncommon Goods at all. It would, really mess up the brand. So it's a good callback to the name.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, it's about planning, honestly. Like, if I want something from Etsy, I know it's going to take more than 1 day.
Oh, dude.
Because it could be one person.
I just bought stuff from Etsy from China. Yeah, it takes weeks.
Yeah, it takes a long time, especially if something's being handmade, or it's a one-of-a-kind kind of object, or it's customized. So I think those things will always be okay. Again, this is I feel like I'm scolding the audience, plan ahead.
Yeah,
please
but
plan ahead.
It's definitely a good point. However, the closer you get to last minute shopping, the less people are going to care and be interested in this kind of thing. So the environmental impact of I need to get a loved one or a good friend or a family member or my boss something, and I need to get it tomorrow. Environmental impact, that kind of goes out the window. So let's be realistic here as far as I'm not going to go up to somebody and be like, sorry, honey, I couldn't get you a gift. I was thinking about the planet. I don't know that that's really going to fly.
I just love that idea, though. You're like, okay, sorry, that'd be a great greeting card. Sorry, honey, I couldn't get you a gift. The planet's more important.
It would be in an email, honestly. Yeah, because that's less.
Right, it shouldn't be printed out.
It shouldn't be printed
right.
out. Anyway, we should get more questions.
Sure. Here's one from Tim. In terms of last mile delivery, what did Amazon do to ease that portion?
Oh, like how are they powering one-day shipping?
Don't they
I
have
believe
like
so.
like a fleet of like third parties that are
Yes.
delivering? I forget what that program is called. You would know.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but that's exactly right. They hire a lot of like much smaller delivery partners to do it. And if you live in the suburbs like I do, you know who these folks are. Some of them are in white vans that are more or less unmarked. Other ones are in the, Amazon vans. But that's what they look like.
You're making
That's
it
what
sound
they look like.
they have candy, they lure children in.
But that's okay. Fair enough. That's not what that was not my intention, and that is what they look like. And others are Amazon branded specifically. So that's partly how they're powering it. The other one, as I mentioned, is they spent billions of dollars to buy a lot more inventory. So all the most popular items are a lot closer to major population centers. And one-day shipping, by the way, it's 10 million items on Amazon coast to coast. So if you're in Hawaii or Alaska, you're kind of out of luck. As far as like U.S. prime shipping, and is 10 million items enough or too many? That's up to you to decide.
And obviously, Amazon's working on drone delivery as well. So they are doing so many different things to get their product or whatever products they're selling to the consumer in any given way, such that they are the only thing you think about. Like, where should I get this from? Amazon. Like, remember when Amazon was a bookstore?
Yeah.
That was like a billion years ago.
But it's a good point that you make as far as what's their competition. Their competition is if you really, really need to get something, you'll drive to the corner store to get it, and you're back home in 15 to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. That's where drone delivery comes in, where you will literally get the product at your door in 30 minutes. That's the really big potential game changer. And if you're looking at this from a much broader perspective, next day delivery is really the first step in a multi-tiered cycle of we're going to do next day this holiday season, some future holiday season, it's going to be same day. And then after that, it's going to be drone delivery or catapult or whatever.
And then preemptive shipping.
Yeah,
It'll
Ben,
show
if you
up.
keep touting this and I get like my next order of cat food shows up at my door before I'm out of the bag I have now, I'm be real upset.
Well, I already have that with my dog food.
That's correct.
It's already a subscription.
Preemptive, yeah.
you
Preemptive
can do
subscriptions, yeah, they do have versions of that. They could probably get even more sophisticated. I'm sure
Amazon has
Amazon is
subscriptions
figuring
too.
that out.
You
Yeah.
can be like, hey, I want this
Absolutely.
showing up every 3 months, and you just they give you a discount on top of it. So like they make it really easy to buy stuff. So yeah, I think if they're doing, I can't wait for AI to be a part of this, where you're like, oh yeah, here you also would need a new water dish for your dog. You also need this.
Amazon chip in your brain.
That's-
will like
I don't
determine like
know.
all your wants and needs.
I don't need an Alexa in my head. I'd rather have Assistant in my head. I'm a big fan of Assistant.
Well, pick one because it's going to be one of them. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Any more
Ship me.
questions?
I think Amazon should change their slogan to "We make it easy to buy stuff." Before we switch gears into the next topic, I wanted to bring up this. This is a great idea. It's something that I don't think we think about as much anymore in our busy lives, and this is going to sound a little soapboxy, but I grew up in a real small town. You knew your mail carrier, you knew everybody around the community, and there's a really, really sweet idea that Timothy proposed is to, if you got the same delivery folks, the same truck drivers coming to your house, bringing those heavy-ass bags of cat food and crap and whatever you need that you don't need coming from Amazon, get them a card or something, get them a Christmas
That's a
card or
nice
whatever
idea.
holiday you celebrate, or just, bake them some cookies, maybe find out if they got some allergies first, but nice gestures like that can go a long way. Maybe that's something we can get back in the habit of.
I asked, do you hate this idea?
I absolutely hate this idea. What are you talking about, man? Like, you gotta find out if they have allergies. What if you offend them about the religion thing? You're like, oh, by the way, here's a Christmas card. I'm not celebrating this thing. What if they get really upset?
Then
Have any
not
idea what
celebrating
you're
this
doing?
Then maybe make an effort and find out what their preference is.
Why would you chat with this person? They're trying to make all their deliveries. Let them do their job, Brian.
Listen, if
Small
I was making
towns.
deliveries
I
and
would
someone left a
say-
tray of cookies out, even if I was deathly allergic to them, if they were shrimp cookies, I would appreciate the gesture, you jerk.
Shrimp cookies.
Shrimp
yeah.
cookies for all, then.
I think
Miniature
just
American flags for others.
a general thank you. Good reference. I think a general thank you suffices in many cases anyway. And
The
it's a
point
very
here is
nice
the
idea,
gesture,
by the way.
yeah.
Thank you very much for the gesture, Timothy. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for IS today. What a horrible Scrooge you've become.
I tip the delivery folks who show up on a regular basis. I do that.
Good.
Great.
But I'm not baking anybody any shrimp cookies.
Then
That's
you've
fair.
you've
I
done
want this known.
you've done enough.
Shrimp cookies for all. Miniature American flags for others.
Listen, I'm only
done.
citing that because it would kill me. All right, moving on to the next topic. Thies says Facebook is the worst when it comes to the spam and fake ads. This is, of course, in conjunction with our topic of the political ads.
Yeah.
I've never seen a fake ad on Google or YouTube, but on Instagram, I say it's like 25 to 40% just spam and fake ads. I don't know what numbers we have to validate that. I
Also,
myself,
like, what constitutes a fake ad? Like, I don't actually... Like, when you're talking about a political ad, there are, misleading political ads, there are disingenuous political ads, and then there are just flat-out lies.
There's also, like, if you're talking about YouTube, you got tons of videos, not just the ad parts. Like, the actual content can be completely full of misinformation. So.
Right, but, like, fake could denote, like, a scam, like, that we're going to try to steal your information or sell you something that's not real. So I don't know. I'm also not on Instagram that often. So maybe Instagram sucks now.
I just wanted to use that as a platform to ask if we did have any information to back that up, if we know who some of the greatest offenders are out there.
I don't know about any companies or any sites that have more fake ads than others. Like, I know when I'm on Instagram, there are ads for reputable companies. When it's Facebook, Google, anywhere. Like, I can't think of a single site where you see an ad that's, when you click it, other than like those torrenty sites or the things like there's like 14 download links, that kind of thing. Like,
oh yeah,
those are the ones that you got to think twice about. But I don't really experience that in my day to day.
In general, if we're going to talk like worst offenders, at least the one that's getting the most attention now is Facebook. And Facebook, there's so much of spotlight on Facebook these days, partly because of the political ads, partly because of Libra and all sorts of other things, that it's pretty obvious that like Twitter and Google just tried to inoculate themselves from the situation. They were like, we do not want to face the same level of vitriol. So they just decided to kind of shift their political ads, their political messaging to say, hey, we're working on this. We care about deep fakes,
I was just enjoying your vocabulary there. Inoculate, and you got vitriol there. That's some good stuff right there. There's 25-cent words there.
I appreciate that.
Very happy about that.
Yeah. Well done.
Sorry, the message was important too. I was just enjoying
the
it.
daily charge. You might learn a word
or two.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, how much validity is there with these gatekeepers and their political ad policies that they lay out? I know that Twitter got a bit of a bolstering when they said we're not going to run any political ads at all. Is that just PR?
Sort of. Yeah, they started rolling it back pretty quickly, almost immediately after they made the announcement. So everybody was just like, way to go, Twitter, way to not do political ads. And then they came to the realization that it's much more complicated than that, because they were also banning issues-based ads, which some of those are good, like environmental groups or just whatever. You have all sorts of issues that you want to talk about.
Right there,
exactly. But if you're going to provide issues-based ads, then you're also going to provide issues-based ads for things that some people will agree with and other people will disagree with. So some folks watching the show might, for instance, not appreciate issues-based ads related to the coal industry or fracking or abortion. But at the same time, if you're going to do issues-based ads, like, are you just going to restrict certain topics over others? I'm not really sure.
I mean, they are a private company. They can restrict anything they want. They don't have to.
It's a good point.
They could be like, you know what? For today, we don't like AstroTurf. That's it. AstroTurf is off, because there's lots of ads on AstroTurf. That's very important.
I know,
for Twitter. But the thing, I don't know if it was just PR. Honestly, I in some respects, I'd want to believe in the good of people of going, wait a minute, we are responsible for what people see. We have to be a little bit more responsible. There's all of this other stuff going on the back end about meddling with elections and all kinds of misinformation. And if Twitter can do anything to stop the spread of misinformation, that'd be very helpful. Then what you're talking about, Ben, the idea of what side do they come out on, that's also difficult. How do you become unbiased in this to the point where people actually realize you're unbiased? Because looking unbiased is almost impossible, especially when you're a private company, or
right.
not private, a public company, and you're making money for shareholders. You got to think of a lot of different people when you're doing any action. So it's kind of this. It's a very interesting time to be alive. Honestly, anybody can write anything. Anything can be spread really quickly. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. There's a knee-jerk reaction. In general, it seems that a lot of politicians on the right argue that most social media is somehow against them. We hear that argument fairly often, even though there's been very little evidence to directly present that. I do want to bring up the point, though, that Zuckerberg said about that he likes having political ads on his site because smaller politicians, whether they're, you know, the local dog catcher or whatever, that's how they get their information out there. So if you're going to restrict political ads, you're also going to restrict local ads, local political ads, which they don't want to do.
And I can't wait until Mark Zuckerberg goes full Howard Hughes on us and starts peeing in bottles.
Who says he's not doing that now?
He's not. He's a robot.
I mean, that's how the lizard people sustain themselves.
Don't talk about lizard people,
Wow,
man.
we really went off the rails so
Shrimp
fast.
cookies and lizard people cards coming up, everybody.
Nice.
We're almost out of time. We know that coming up that Disney and Star Wars are making an Obi-Wan series, right? It is a series, a mini-series limited run. Do we think they're going to do any other throwbacks and get some more origin character stories out there?
My God. Just keep the gravy train going.
Yes.
They'll do it as
Absolutely.
long as it's popular.
They were going to do it as a film series, except Solo tanked, and they were like, oh, we got to pump the brakes on this.
And
they
by
were,
tanked, you mean made millions and millions of dollars.
It just
and
didn't do as well.
everybody,
That's a good point.
Everybody hated it.
I didn't hate it.
Everybody hated it.
I
I
didn't
thought it
hate
was okay.
Everybody
I watched
hated
it on an airplane.
Like I said, misinformation. I'm just going to keep saying something until everybody believes me. Everybody hated it.
you know what? That was a bad movie.
Well, either way, the thing is that it didn't get the response that Disney wanted. That's true, no matter what you say, Brian. So the thing is, though, that's why they pumped the brakes on their series of films that we were supposed to get. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is going to probably be a big deal for Disney Plus as well, because if they go with this more adult kind of show like The Mandalorian is, that's also another surprising thing. It's more of an adult show. If you go to Disney Plus, you're like High School Musical and some kind of Santa Claus or whatever the fudge is going to be. I can't swear right now. I was going to swear very loudly there.
It's okay.
Okay, so
You're still with us. Stay with me. Stay
okay,
with me.
right here. Okay, but yeah, so I definitely think there's gonna be a lot of different Star Wars shows if they can afford it, and especially if they bring back Ewan McGregor's. He's attached, and that's a huge deal. If they're gonna bring in like some other person to play the character, that's an issue, and I really think that actually affected Solo. I know you can't do a prequel with Harrison Ford, whatever, but I'm just saying like. There's an attachment to
do
these.
it with plastic face Harrison Ford. You could do it with. We talked about this on the last podcast.
That's right. Well, he's not dead yet.
He's not dead, but you could make like a fake young version of him. It's totally possible.
That probably would have made it work.
Yeah.
Okay, we're out of time. This has been a really great week, everybody. Great conversation. We covered a lot of different topics, too. It's kind of a chaotic week at that. We'll be back next week with more. I'm sure we'll have plenty more to talk about with The Mandalorian, give or take, sooner or later. For our international friends out there, keep us posted. We want to hear about your Black Friday, local Saturday, Cyber Monday experiences. If you're seeing any weird caveats or upsets or bugs in the system, how your shipping experience has been, just out of our own curiosity. So, what was that, Ben?
Nothing. I just said shrimp cookies super quietly.
Don't send me shrimp cookies. I'll die.
Don't send Brian shrimp cookies.
But you
He's
don't have
allergic.
to eat them.
I don't want to eat them.
Send him real cookies, though.
No, I don't want any cookies.
Send us all. It's fine.
I
Send
want
Ben
nothing.
cookies.
I'll eat the cookies.
Fox cookies.
Fine, you go ahead and do
Fox-shaped
that.
cookies.
And in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see y'all on Monday. Ben.
All right, great. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you can join us live weekday mornings. And if you have the chance, check out the links below to learn more about today's topics. And feel free to subscribe to all our audio podcasts on all the platforms for all the audio. For The Daily Charge, I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Julia Roberts.
Thanks for joining us.
Can't get enough? Check out The Daily Supercharge, our extended post show with special features, audience Q&A, and in-depth reviews. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.